I have a great recipe that was handed down to me from one of my grandmothers. It is called One Rise Cinnamon Rolls, and I have added a brown sugar icing to the top.
Looks good.
Oh, I wish you could smell it through the camera because it smells wonderful.
Yeah.
So let's get started on the recipe.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so to make these One Rise cinnamon rolls, we have 3 steps. And the first step is we're going to go ahead and make the filling. All right, and that consists of a half a cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and as you can see, I'm doing heaping because we like lots of cinnamon here. Oh. And half a cup of butter, which would be 1 stick. And I'm going to use a fork to stir this up. And we're going to stir this up real good and then set it aside. You just want to incorporate the butter and the sugar and the cinnamon. Really good. And that's why I chose to use a fork, because it make it easier to incorporate it. So basically we've got like a paste of the cinnamon mixture. Alright, so get that ready to go. That's what it looks like. Okay, so now we're going to do the dough for the rolls. So in this bowl you're going to put about 1.5 cups of the flour, which I have it measured out three cups. Let's see, 3 cups here, so about half of this, and we'll incorporate the rest on the final. 1 package of yeast. I buy our yeast in bulk, so 1 package equals 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. 1/4 cup of sugar, white sugar. A teaspoon of salt. And that's probably a teaspoon. This is sea salt, so it's a little stronger, so you don't need to maybe do the full teaspoon. Then we want lukewarm water. In the original recipe from my grandmother, it says to use hot tap water, but we use filter water, and I put it in the microwave, so it's kind of lukewarm. And then we want 2 tablespoons of butter. And lastly, 1 egg. And we'll crack it over here. Now you can do this in a mixer or use a hand mixer. I'm just going to do the old-fashioned using a whisk. Want to mix and incorporate all those ingredients. Get the egg. I'm sure the use of like a regular stand mixer or a hand mixer would go a little faster, but it's basically to incorporate the butter and the egg pretty well. But I make a lot of sourdough bread, so I'm used to just mixing it by hand with a spatula, actually. Alright, so that's pretty good. There's a few little chunks I can see, but once we put the rest of the flour in, it should be pretty good. So we're going to dump the rest of the flour in. We're going to mix it in, and I'm probably shouldn't even do this part with the whisk because it's just going to stick to it. Because we're getting to where we're making a stiff dough. And just incorporate that. And I like to use a spatula because I like to get all the scrapes, this stuff on the side. Now I'm using an all-purpose flour. You could try it with a bread flour. I haven't done that yet. And like I said, this is my grandma's recipe. Now, I'm finding this is a little sticky, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more flour. Because you want a little bit more stiffer dough because we're going to be rolling this out, and if it's too sticky, it's going to be too hard to work with. Okay, so what I'm going to do, you can see now it's not as sticky as it was, is I'm going to put a little flour on our mat. And I'm actually going to dump the dough out. Okay. And this is a point where you do have to just get your hands involved. But that's one of the fun parts of baking. And we're going to knead this for about a minute or so, just to incorporate all that flour, extra flour. And if you still find it's a little sticky, you can add a little bit, but you don't want to add too much because you don't want it to be too stiff, because then the rolls will come out not as fluffy. But you don't want it to stick to the mat either. So but as you can see, as I'm kneading it, as you knead it, the dough starts to form, the gluten forms together, and it gets more solid. And you can knead it more than a minute. I'm just going by my grandma's recipe. And you know, back in the day, flours were different, and you know, ingredients overall were possibly different. So, but see, you can see it's forming a nice dough. And I like to knead bread, so I probably even need this a little bit more. Okay. And I think I might have just seen a Wiley here. And the more you knead dough, the smoother it gets, and the gluten structure builds. But then you don't want to over knead it. There's kind of like a fine line here. But this looks really good. It's sticking together. It's not sticking to my hands. That's what you want. Okay. I'm going to just form it into a nice round ball, but we're going to roll it out in kind of a rectangle. And just going to put a little bit more flour out here when we roll it out, just to make sure. Okay, so we're going to roll a rectangle. As you see, the dough is pretty stretchy, but as you roll it, so the first thing I like to do is just do each from the middle out, so we get our length. And I have to move my little candles here. I just like to put it on. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see, I'm going more around here. But alright, I think that's pretty good. It's kind of an oval triangle or rectangle. Maybe just a little wider. Obviously, the more wide you have, and when you roll it up, the more swirls you'll have in your cinnamon rolls. And on the recipe, it does say 15 by 7, but we're guessing here. All right, so now we got our filling. We're just going to take that, put that on, and you're just going to spread it. And this is where having lots of spatulas. And I know there are a lot of cinnamon roll recipes out there, and I have made different ones several times, but I just like this one because, first of all, it's one rise, and second, you can make them the night before, put them in the refrigerator, and take them out and bake them the next morning, which I think a lot of cinnamon rolls recipes you can do that, but so you want to get that nice and smooth. And, you know, leave around the edge because we're going to be rolling this up and you don't want that coming out. And okay, so what we're going to do is start here and we're just going to roll it up. Into a nice size log. Okay, and then you want to pinch the sides. And then I'm going to roll this over and I'm going to just pinch these together. This is a really nice dough because once it gets mixed up, and it's just really easy to work with. Okay. I'm going to make sure those are nice, sealed the best you can. Alright, and then we're going to roll it back over, and I'm just going to do this, and that'll very lightly help with the seal. If you can see right there, it's sealing up much better. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is cut our rolls. So let's see, one, I'm just doing this to kind of give myself a, so that's about an inch approximately. I'm doing this just to get myself a measurement. So I'm looking about, I'd say about 12 rolls, and they're going to expand quite a bit. So well, maybe we'll make them a little thinner. So I do smooth that out. I'm just going to go ahead and cut through the middle here. We'll just see what we get. As far as, this isn't the best knife, it don't seem to, it's okay, but it's, and that's what it's going to look like. So when you cut through the dough, it might flatten them a little bit, but you just go like that and shape them back up. Alright, so we're going to cut the rest of these out and see how many we get. I'm going to go a little faster, and we'll be back in a minute to show you putting them in the pan. So I'm just using this pan, and we're going to see how many we can get in here. I have lightly greased it with leaf lard. You can use whatever you prefer, shortening, a cooking spray, tallow, whatever your preference is. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the pan and show you what that looks like. So I got 12 in this pan, and they've already started rising because I actually had to pop them in the refrigerator because I got sidetracked. So as you can see, they're already rising, so they're probably not going to take as long. Normal rising is about I'd say anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending what your kitchen temperature is. But like I said, I had put after I cut them, I put them in the refrigerator, and they're already starting to rise, and that's colder temperature. So I've got 12 in here, and then I've got 6 more, so I got 18 total out of what I cut. So I'm going to actually put the other ones in another pan. So I'm going to just use a pie pan and put them in there and just lightly grease it. And even though they look a little, maybe not quite as round because I'm pulling them out of another pan, when they rise, they'll puff up together. And you can put a little space between them, but when they double, they will be all joined together. So, all right, we're gonna let them do their rise, and then we will get ready to bake them. And final step will be to make a glaze to put over my brown sugar glaze. Alright everybody, so the rolls have risen. When you let them rise, you want to make sure they rise till they're double. And you can see they're nice and big, and I think they're going to turn out really well. And these are the ones that are in the pie plate, and you remember they had space between them, but like I said, when they rise, they usually combine together. So I've got the oven heating at 350, and we're going to bake them. The original recipe from my grandmother said 20 to 25 minutes, but we found that our oven bakes a little hotter, so probably going to start them about 15 minutes and then check them from there. So we will be back when they're finished baking, and then we're going to make a really nice brown sugar icing to go over top of them. Alright, so our rolls have come out of the oven. They raised up a little bit more, and they're nice and golden. And we're going to let them sit here for about 15-20 minutes to cool down. And while they're cooling down, we're going to make a brown sugar icing to go on top of them. And just wanted to show you too, these are the ones that I did in the dish, and they even expanded more. So we will be back to show you how to make the icing. Alright, so we're going to make a brown sugar icing to put on top of the cinnamon rolls. And first thing we're going to need is a half a stick of butter. And we're going to let that melt. I've got it on about medium high. That's not pretty fast. And you can see Wiley's come to check out. He's always likes to be around when we're cooking on the stove. You smell that butter? Okay. You smell that butter? Come over here and so you can see in the camera. Look. So, I've got it, like I said, about medium heat. You just want to watch it because you don't want to scorch it. Although, if you do let your butter cook a little bit, it gets a little bit nuttier flavor. Okay, and we just about got it out of here. So, once it's melted, you're going to add a cup of brown sugar. I'm basically doubling the recipe because I have 2 things of rolls to put glaze on. So we're going to go ahead and put a cup. And then we're going to put 6 tablespoons of heavy cream. We're going to bring that up to a slight boil for a minute or 2. Just so the brown sugar can get incorporated with the butter and the cream. And also melt. And I make our brown sugar. I don't buy the commercial store-bought packaged brown sugar, and it's really simple to make. So if you ever want to try it, it's basically just white sugar and molasses, and it really makes a nice brown sugar. So I just make a batch and keep a small canister with the sugar. And for this recipe that my grandmother did, it had a brown sugar icing that you actually would put in the pan first and then put the rolls and bake it. But I find that we like the glaze on top of the rolls, so that's why I'm doing it this way. But you also could do a cream cheese icing. It's really good on cinnamon rolls. I know that's pretty standard, but we like brown sugar. So it's going to take a few minutes just to get it up to a boil. You don't want it to be a rapid boil, just a very gentle boil. And you want to keep it on a medium heat, because if you get too high and it starts boiling too fast, you could scorch it. So we don't want to do that. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm looking for my measuring spoon. And while we're waiting for that, because it's going to take a couple minutes, I wanted to show you here is my kitchen helper. Say hi, buddy. He's kind of worn out because he had playtime with his balls. So, that's tennis balls. That we got him. He loves to chase them. Alright, here you can see we're starting to boil. I just want to make sure that brown sugar gets melted. And you only need it to boil for a minute or two. And as you can see, it's just a gentle boil. Alright, I'm going to turn this off, and to this we're going to add powdered sugar. And that's what's going to give it the nice icing. I'm going to take it off the heat here because I don't really want it to be boiling the powdered sugar. And I'm going to get my whisk so it incorporates a little bit better. And the spoon. And starting off, it's a cup, but since we double recipe, we're going to do 2 cups. And then you can decide from there if you want to add more to make it thicker. If you want a thinner glaze, you can add a little bit more of the heavy cream. You also can use milk in place of the heavy cream. I just happen to have some that I made and have it on hand. And I think I'm going to add a little more powdered sugar because we like it a little thicker. But before I add the extra powdered sugar, I'm also going to add some vanilla. Homemade vanilla. And that's why I was searching for my lost. About a teaspoon and a half, maybe. You gotta whisk it pretty good here because get that powdered sugar incorporated. And it will thicken as it cools. And as you can tell, I didn't really measure that. I just kind of guessing. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Stir it up good to get that powdered sugar incorporated. If you don't have one of these little smaller whisks, they are so good for little batches like this. Yeah, that looks really good. Kind of want that consistency. See how smooth it's getting? Alright, well, we're going to head over to where the rolls are, and we're going to add the icing. Alright, so we have our brown sugar icing. I'm going to give it a quick stir. Oh, I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. It's really going to add to the rolls. And basically, we're just going to take it. Let me show it this way. And just pour it over these rolls. And I'm going to save a little bit because I have that other dish. And it's getting thicker so you can get a little faster. And you want to make sure your rolls are cooled off before you put this on, otherwise it's going to completely melt. And of course, you know, I have to have my spatulas and scrape all the, see how it's thickening up really nice. It's going to be so good. And there you have it. 1 rise cinnamon rolls with a brown sugar icing. And another little optional thing that you can do, I'm going to move this one aside. We have this one, is you can add some nuts on top. And I'm actually going to take this over to my parents tomorrow. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Oh my goodness, it smells so good. So we're going to cut a piece and try them. Move this out of the way. Alright, so we got our icing on there, and let's go ahead and just take one out of here. Look at that. This is such a nice roll recipe. It just makes such
It looks good.
Fluffy. I know Wiley's going to like it. Aren't you, Wiley? He's already sitting over here waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Look how nice that is.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you was doing a taste test.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
Good, huh?
It's good. It is a lot of sugar, so.
Right.
Oh, the flavoring of the brown sugar and the cinnamon.
Probably gonna be great with milk.
Yeah. You want to try it?
Not right this minute.
I know, because you're holding the camera.
I know.
So, this is a great recipe. I had 2 wonderful grandmothers, and I have a lot of recipes handed down to me, and also recipes from my mom. So, stay tuned to our channel. God bless, and have a wonderful day.
Amen. Catch you guys on the next one.
Oh, where's Wiley? You want to taste? Oh, yes. Wiley approved.
Wiley approved.
Good boy.
And Wiley want more.
Good boy.
Alright guys, we'll catch you on the next video.